and you can make it that way. You're totally entitled to it, and they can't do a thing about it. Do you know what I mean? You can really be creative, in other words, is what I'm trying to say. You know, you can be so creative that it's almost meaning, you know? But I know what it's like. It's a drag but if you keep looking at it like that, you will always feel it like that. And you have to, you know, you can't wait for the behavior to change. Your response to the behavior needs to change. Like, move above it, you know, find a higher ground somewhere, and they become...
Because that ex-girlfriend Kiel's talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's dating my best friend I've known for 7 years, and he ditched me for her, and...
yeah.
And they're acting like dickheads to me, and apparently I've heard that she still likes me and all this crap.
Yeah,
and then just every single day is just
problems
and problems and problems.
Yeah, they're hiding...
yeah, over the past week, everyone's had problems. Everyone's just had so many problems, and it's just been suicidal. I just want to know if people would care if I was gone, because they say they do, but would they?
No, they would, but
like even Kia, like even though she hates my guts and is dating someone, would they care?
Of course, but at the same time, it's like when you get upset and mad about something, the moment you get angry or upset is the moment you lose the power that you really have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like funny, in the moment that you're getting upset, you feel empowered, but as soon as you've gotten that out of your system, then you really feel that.
You know
what I mean? And the thing is, you should not let other people's behaviour or attitude dictate your life's outcome. You know?
True.
To any degree, for any reason. You know? Because when you do, you know, there's so many different things and ways you can look at it, but really, in the end, none of it mattered anyway. So to speak.
Because I really don't want to take pills just to be happy. Like,
no, that won't make you happy, and you don't.
Because my friend's girlfriend took medication to be happy, but I just don't want to do that. I just want to be me.
Learn what the others haven't learned yet.
Because I told them, like, I don't want to take pills just to be happy, because I see the world for what it is. I don't just want to fake my happiness because of pills. I just want to be me and be happy.
Yeah, and why do you have to, you know, be out of
That's the problem.
To be able to, you know,
with everyone.
Why not be into it, you know, and create stuff. I mean, that's what artists and creative people do, you know. They build stuff. For some of them, their creativity is in making businesses, and some of them, they make furniture. You know what I mean? Some of them, they make paintings, and some make sculptures. But we all find our... You know, water will find its own level eventually. You'll find those real people that are part of your, you know, spiritual family, so to speak. You know?
Because they're all telling me to move on from my ex-girlfriend, but like I still just...
Well, you don't.
The memories are hard, you know, they make me cry and everything.
Yeah. Well, you don't let go of that, but like usual, you don't overdwell on stuff. And it's good to have a good cry and get that out of your system. I quite enjoy it. It's therapeutic, but not in a self-pity way. Although at the time, you know, it's just a process to process all that out, and then at the end of it, I usually have a yawn. And the moment the yawn comes...
same.
Oh, yeah. Alright, okay. And, alright, now you literally are a new person. You just got born again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And don't let it be wrecked by repeating the subject as soon as somebody comes along and they say, oh, what's been happening, man? And you go back into what you just got over.
Yeah.
Last thing you need. Do you know what I mean? Our daughter does that, and really, it hasn't helped her a little bit at all. In fact, it's completely made it really hard for her. And one day she'll have to...
What is she upset about?
Run away from. She just generally uses being upset to avoid responsibility. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. That.
You know that kind of thing? Yeah.
What I used to do as a kid.
Everything. Yeah, just to, you know, I mean, you can protest about this and protest about that, but she really's not protesting.
Because I had my girlfriend Vicky, which is like the... my girlfriend Vicky is just like makes me happy and everything, and just
Yeah.
everything that's going on. I feel like she doesn't deserve it. Another reason I want to die.
When it's like friends. Friends aren't there for you for you to bring your problems to. They're there for you to keep your problems away from. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's good to be able to confide and have that's a deep relationship. But friends in general, the notion of friendship in general is all about this is somebody who won't bring trouble to my door. You know what I mean? That's the first aspect of friendship. The second aspect is that, they'll be there to support me when I need help. But the first aspect is not to bring trouble to the door.
Mm.
Yeah?
Have you ever had
Isn't it?
people suicide? Like any people you've known?
Yeah. Look, and other things and die dumbly.
Well, because my friend did say something. He said, we don't want to be there at your grave carrying you there, and etc. etc.
No, the thing is, right, when somebody suicides, it's very hard. It's very hard to say anything good to say. Or, it's a very hard situation.
Because I know people will forget about me.
You remember,
eventually.
they'll remember, you remember the person and you think of the person, but the hardest thing is that you're always left feeling, I wish there was something I could have done, but I did do what I could, because I thought at the time what I was doing was the most helpful thing, but now, and so
because you can't go back.
So all you're doing is spreading the insecurity, and sometimes some people use that, commit suicide in order to do that, but truly 99 times 99% of the time when people commit suicide, they've been romanticizing, they've been dreaming of it, they've been thinking of too much, right?
Yes, yeah, my ex-girlfriend Kia always said her dream was to die, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's a lovely way of escapism, but it won't escape nothing.
My other friends.
And the thing is what actually happens when we look into the actual, like, the death throes of somebody that actually succeeds in suicide, we see that person, nearly 100% of the time, will try to save themselves at the last moment.
Yeah, because they regret it at the last second.
Well, at the last second they suddenly get a realization and then they go to fight back. And then what we see is that the person dies.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff before. It's horrible.
And they died from an accident, but it's not termed as an accident because it was a deliberate accident.
It was self-suicide stupidity.
Yeah, well, they were trying to kill themselves, but they didn't mean to kill themselves. How do you explain that to a coroner or to an insurance company or to a court or all sorts of things?
Plus, with depression that I have, it'd probably be way worse.
Yeah, we all change our minds, and when we experience something, we grow up and we move on. We might go through it multiple times, but that doesn't mean we eventually won't stop. I used to be a bad heroin addict for a long time. Right. And people thought that I would never stop. Now it's been a long time since I've ever, and I would, I mean, I could be around it and not have a fucking problem, I mean, when I did stop, I actually had plenty of it, and I just stopped using it when I had it. Not many people do that.
What did you use it for?
I was just using because I was stupid enough to start, and then when I started, I was stupid enough not to stop soon enough, and then when I didn't stop soon enough, I wasn't able to stop. So,
right. Understandable.
Yeah, and eventually I learnt to live with it, and then eventually I actually learnt to live without it. So, but I had to learn to, do a lot of things first before I could learn to be able to get along a little bit further. And the thing is you don't know you're doing it at the time, but you take advantage of every step of the way. You have to learn to fight your own emotions, control your own feelings. It's the hardest thing in the world. Right, because you get into that sort of stuff.
Even though my friend says, even though I say I can control my anger issues and he can control his ADHD, you can't.
You can't, no. And you can't control it because you are controlling. The mere notion of controlling it...
I mean, you're controlling, but you're just making it worse.
Yeah, you're making it worse, because you're bringing up something you really shouldn't have to be aware of. The truth about rehab, from my condition, was that the moment we stopped talking about it or thinking about it or remembering that it's actually happening is the moment we're cured. That's the true definition. And when you no longer refer to it, it's not in the conversation, if you know what I mean. I'm only referring to it as an example between you and I, as somebody that I really would understand. I wouldn't use it in a general context. but, you know, we all do that.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's not worth the suicide.
It's not worth, you know, taking the guessing out of life and making that definite. It's not worth the answers that you'll get, because then as soon as you understand the answers, you'll be ready to do something about it, and you won't be able to, and inherently that'll make you feel worse than the thing that made you commit suicide in the first place.
True. Have you attempted suicide yourself?
Hey, heroin addicts always, it's all suicide. What do you think a heroin addict is? It's the Walking Dead. You know, somebody asked me years ago, a copper, because he was a bit concerned about me when I was much younger, and said, he sat there for a while twiddling his hat, trying to think of how to talk to me, and then eventually he goes, if you were to commit suicide, how would you do it? And I said, by staying alive.
I mean, for a guy that's like 95, probably has nothing left in his life, I can understand why he would want to suicide. But I'm only.
But if you're only 15 or 16.
Yeah, I'm only like 17 or 16.
Yeah, well, I was about 17 or 16 when this copper asked me that, and my.
Because I think of my age, and I think of how much of a waste it would be, because it's still of my whole life.
Well, that's true, but I was thinking the opposite. In my mind, I was thinking that it would be a much more dedicated suicide if I actually lived after I committed.
Hey Wolf, may I ask you a question? Since you're 56, which has nothing to do with it, but like, how come you're always so happy?
Oh, they've been asking me that all my life. I mean, you know, that just comes down to...
Because I know you're not happy deep down, but like, you seem happy.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Well, I am happy.
Because you can laugh and hide you can hide it all inside.
Yeah, I'm not exactly hiding. I think I've got enough confidence to be fully expressive, but...
Not like with depressed people like myself, like I could laugh and have a good time, but then go and cry the next.
But you've got to have a basic foundation, and ultimately I think it's not about hiding.
Because I don't think a therapist will help. A therapist probably won't help as much. Yeah, it would.
No. I mean, therapy can help you have something to sound off, and that's all therapy is. You know, something to sound off, but it's at every step of the way, just like rehab. I mean, I could go to all the rehabs in the world, which I did, but as it was always the case, I always had to do the same thing I already knew I had to do before going to rehab, and that's not news. No matter how much pain it was, no matter how anxious I got, and no matter how fucking horrible it was, and how much I wanted to be dead. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, fuck everything in such a way that even I couldn't save myself if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one way of committing suicide, isn't it? That's what I'm trying to say before. There's many ways of committing suicide. You can emotionally commit suicide. You can physically commit suicide.
I think mine's a bit of emotional and just stress suicide.
People do both, you know? People do, and there's a
because even if I'm sitting on the game right now and playing, people always think, you're not going to do it. That pushes the person to do it more.
Yeah. And or anything. There's always
my friend told me this.
That conversation, as long as it's happening, until, you know, I mean, it's fair enough to be happening when you've got something, objectivity to work out, but if it's like in the first person, then, you know, you need to exercise that.
Because my friend told me this, but I've known this for a while. Like, I've known this myself, but he reminded me, if someone's like on a bridge or something in real life, you don't go towards them because they'll jump.
Oh, they'll jump. Yeah.
Have you been in that situation?
Don't rush. Yeah, you don't rush.
Wonder why that is.
Well, because they get fearful and they become self-protective. You know, and in self-protecting, they hug onto what they've got. A drowning man always takes down somebody else. Do you know what I mean? So they're not going to think rationally. They're just going to think, oh, I've got to save myself before it's too late. And it's that same death throw of trying to save yourself as you commit suicide. The act of suicide is a desperate move.
Like in a plane crash, you don't just jump out. Like in a plane crash, you don't just jump out the window.
Who the fuck jumps out the window in a plane crash? Everybody sits there and waits for the FUD.
There is a saying that if you jump without a parachute, there's like not even a 1% chance you will live.
There's more chances than you can imagine. I mean, it has happened more frequently than you can imagine. But during the Second World War, there was a guy who you know, bailed out at 40,000 feet, and he ended up landing in some bushes with nothing more than some scratches, and got up and walked away.
That's just pure luck, though. Like,
yeah, yeah,
lucky bastard.
Well, when you got so many people falling out of the sky, one of them's got to get lucky, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so back then in those days, there were a lot of people falling out of the sky, so that, you know.
I mean, even if you hit the water, you'd probably like did a concussion or something.
Well, actually, he didn't hit water. He hit a whole pile of, like, a cart, like a load of, instead of straw, it was a load of bracken, you know, like off-cut branches and shit. Right? So that kind of, landing in all of that, that's why he got all scratched up, but it all cushioned because he could fall into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Lucky,
so he was lucky enough that he just happened to hit the pile of fucking rubbish, basically.
So no broken bones, nothing?
Nothing, no, because, I mean, you think about it, a whole heap of twigs and everything. He's lucky one didn't go through him, but they all break his fall and catch him, you know, so, because they were lying, you know, sideways or something. If they were sticking up, it would have been fucking just alive.
Sure.
Yeah. I've got to just quickly go back to the other party for a second.
Oh, good.
Tell them to pull out and go to the tower.
Alright.
You all good? Yeah? Or you
kind of.
Yeah, I don't
really suicidal, so.
I don't think, you know, we're quite finished at all, although there's nothing to achieve, because...
I mean, if you'd like to...
Ultimately, you're the one in control.
I just pretty much want to know what are the, effects of suicide, like, anything else?
Well, the effects are devastating. They're devastating for everybody involved, but more so for the person who commits suicide. Because it will be at that moment that they finally understand that what they are going on about they could so easily have dealt with in a different way, you know? Alright, it is that moment you get the breakthrough, but that breakthrough is now lost. When you and the part of the breakthrough is you can also that you will realise that if you just went through the shit, you would have been better off than to fucking. Do you know what I mean? When you get there, it becomes more important.
Because in my head right now, I have the feeling of keep pushing, but like, what's the point?
What are you pushing? Are you pushing to keep...
Like, just keep pushing not to suicide, but like in my head, like, what's the point, you know?
Don't push not to suicide. Push to, leave that as no option at all. You know?
Yeah.
There is no option in it, right? And like, you know, don't find other ways to emotionally suicide, because if you're not careful, that's all you're going to do.
Is there a common reason people suicide? Like, is there a common reason?
Yeah, because usually because they think it's an option. That's the most common reason.
No, I don't. I just, like, I really just feel like they shouldn't be alive.
No, of course. Well, you know, none of us should be alive. A lot of us. I mean, I give you examples. I mean, but it doesn't change anything. The reality is that you will lose the opportunity of making something else. You've got a wonderful set of art equipment in front of you, which is your life and the world around you.
I mean, I have a beautiful girlfriend and good friends and stuff. I just really feel like I shouldn't be alive.
Well, there's so much more you can be making. And, of course, you know, that's just going to be doubt when you're trying to create something. Don't compare your creations against anyone else's. There's nobody that deserves it more than you know, to be able to do what
Could I ask something? Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
When you talk to people about killing yourself, how come they always mention stories about their loved ones always suiciding, or people that they've known killed themselves? Is that trying to say something?
Well, it's an example that they've had, you know, and it's also a way of trying to understand those people and what those actions and how that's going to fit in. But remember, you won't be able to have that appreciation, you won't be able to maintain those links, and they will truly die if you die. Because once there's nobody to remember you, then you don't exist anymore. Alright?
Sure.
Okay? So, you don't want people to remember you for the worst reasons or no reason at all. You want people to remember you because they just remember you.
Well, lately I've fucked up a lot of stuff, so I think they just remember me as a bad person like everyone says I am.
Well, you can't fuck up more than I have, so make an art of it and be proud of yourself. Do what you do well, yeah? Or tall. You know, do you know the people who really are fucked up? Those who don't fuck up. Because they don't really
Like,
have much of a life in the end.
I know you're not like an expert with everything, but like, if my ex-girlfriend said that she didn't care if I suicided, would that be a lie?
It would be. But it will also be partly the truth. What she'd be saying is it wouldn't reach the point that you might think it would. It would be a lie in the sense that it wouldn't mean nothing. It wouldn't affect her at all. Of course, she'd be affected, but not in the ways that the vernacular that is.
What ways would she be affected though? Like, she
well, ways that she doesn't know about yet. Ways she's not realizing until it happens.
So she wouldn't cry.
Know what's going to happen until. Well, you don't know. I mean, she might cry 7 years later, right?
Oh, right. I understand what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? It's not about instantaneous responses. The instantaneous response is probably going to be superficial, as usual. I mean, it's not superficial. It's important. It's real. It's all that. But it is instantaneous. It hasn't had time to mature. You know, I'm not talking about the person being mature, I'm talking about the feeling mature, because, you know, just like we were saying before about crying, afterwards you have a yawn, you get to that yawn part, it's almost hard to keep crying, isn't it? Yeah, unless you really work on it, you know?
Hey, friends are important.
Yeah, alright.
Thank you for your time, Wolf. Appreciate it.
Give us a yell a little bit later, and if you're still up, I'll check in on you, okay?
Of course. Thank you, Wolf.
Alright.
Thank you, mate.
Alright. Remember, we love you, okay?
Yeah, you take care. You too. You take care.
Bye. See you soon.
See you. You're watching my stream, huh?
No.
No, not you, Riley.
Oh yeah, Riley's being a little homo.
Oh yeah, because I was just talking with Wolf.
Yeah, I know. Can you invite me to that party, please?
Oh, he just left. He said he'll be back later.
No, I'm not in a pipe. Are you in there, dude? Ninja, are you there?
So it's Biffle.
Your girlfriend's being a bitch.
Yeah, she really is.
I've been calling everyone Bethel.
Yeah, ever since I started calling everyone special.
I call Vicky special because she's special.
Oh yeah, special.
Ninja, how do you like being channeled while being on stream, bro? How do you like it?
Nice.
Damn it!
Vicky, so if you want to take horny, Vicky, you just gotta shoot.
Yeah, that's what you have to do,
I'm
really.
winning. I have 17 kills.
I've got
Yeah, wait, I thought you were going to say you have
26.
17 dildos. What the fuck?
For sure I'm winning. Yeah, Vic, what the hell? You don't need 17 dildos. Chill.
I don't.
Don't need that many.
Yeah.
Only has 2, so be quiet, guys. Okay?
What?
Nothing.
I actually didn't mean. That's what I said.
What the fuck is this cunt?
What do you think?
Of course you would just like team on you because you knew that Ninja lowered my health. You fucking bitch.
Shoo!
This is why I don't. Bethel.
Yeah?
Are you gonna die?
Oh, don't team on me,
Maybe.
you piece of crap.
Make you put me on your wheel.
Huh?
I need some
I
shit
want
too.
to pickaxe you.
Fuck's sake. Oh.
Stop teaming! Honestly.
Oh,
Thank you.
I've had enough of you guys' crap.
You know what? Fine. I won't team. Free for all, bitch.
Yeah, do it. Execute her Ninja. Now I'm a little sin.
That was simp.
Vicky wants.
Bethel died.
Vicky wants a dick that's more than 2 inches, okay?
But you
Quite
can't
sorry.
provide that, so, yeah.
Gee, thank you.
You're welcome, bro.
Making my
Anything for my
suicidal
money.
thoughts way worse.
Yeah, anything for you, Ninja, okay?
Anything
Just
for you, bro.
advice.
I'm lagging so badly.
Yeah, no, that's what you're fucking
Yeah, Caramel will lend you his dick for
This is why I talk to
hell
Wolf.
no, I ain't lending him nothing. He has to do it himself. I've done it my whole entire life. He has to work for his.
Wait,
No, I'm not some charity.
This is why I talk to Wolf, because these two are
You'll
never
chop it off.
sensible.
He'll chop it off and he'll just get it straight back on.
What? I'm
GG,
not doing
Zeki.
that for him.
GG's.
I've been growing mine my entire life.
Am I lagging?
His.
I agreed with everything he said.
Yeah, that's why I talk to him, because he's sensible, unlike these two.
Wow, thanks for
hey,
what,
Tiny,
man.
Tiny, we're having a joke around.
Awesome.
To me trying to
Oh
attempt
my
something.
god.
So everything I say to you,
It's a
Tiny,
harmless
try to
little
help
joke,
is
and you're
nothing
thinking
to
it's
you.
a harm. Like,
No, right now, like dick jokes and everything.
Oh no, Tiny, it's fucking you're no better.
What?
You try to have a joke around. Fuck it, you fuck us over. We're trying to have a joke.
Hey,
Tiny.
stop!
Oh, bro, I ain't gonna fuck you over. I ain't gay.
Well,
Oh, fuck that.
Caramel wants to fuck you.
Oh, say less.
no,
Joking.
not at all, actually.
No, yuck.
Oh, fuck me.
You know what? You did... Caramel.
Yo.
Do you want me happy or depressed? Because I can drink my cordial right now.
Pressy.
You have cordial? I want cordial.
It makes me go
You don't
home.
deserve it.
Fuck you.
Come on, trash can.
What was that?
I wanted a cookie, but you wouldn't
Fuck,
give me a
no!
cookie.
Yeah, you call me trash can, huh?
I'm lagging while fucking streaming. Be quiet, I'm ending.